Hello and welcome. Version 24.1 is the first minor release of Automic version 24. Minor release means that not only bugs or vulnerabilities have been fixed, but that new functions have been added just as well. 24.1 is the direct successor to 24.0. And do note that Automic V24.0 will no longer receive any fixes. Only the latest minor release will be updated. So in this video, we'll be taking a look at the changes and new features included in 24.1. The big focus of the AWI in version 24 is accessibility, and version 24.1 carries this on. The status icons in the AWI have been changed in various places. Broadcom has adjusted the size and color contrast. This makes the icons easier to read and recognize. Here you can see a few examples of how it used to look, how it looks now in the new version. The Automic REST API has been expanded, mainly in the areas of user management and client management. These changes are therefore primarily interesting and relevant for the admin. Let's take a look at user management first. With V24.1, you can create users via the REST API. Additionally, the new endpoint connections with the HTTP method delete allows you to terminate user connections. In other words, you can use it to disconnect user sessions. The new endpoint move makes it possible to move users from client 0 to another client. This is done using the HTTP method patch. For client management, there are now the following new options. You can create clients directly via the REST API using POST on the client's endpoint. Though, of course, this is only possible if you connect to client 0 with the REST API. By using the patch method on the same endpoint, you can start or stop one or more clients. The clients/client ID endpoint now allows client settings to be changed as well as deleted. Here too, you use the patch method. In addition to the changes to user management and client management, the REST API has also received a tiny new feature. Under System Telemetry, there is the new Details endpoint. Here, you can export and download telemetry data in CSV format. The changes to the REST API are mostly relevant for admins. But there are even more new features in V24.1 that will impact admins. You can download the telemetry data not only via REST API in CSV format, but also in AWI. For this purpose, there is a new button in the administration view. Many admins have probably been waiting for the next change for a very long time. The encryption tool UCYB-Crypt is now also available for Linux. Until now, it was only available for Windows. The biggest block of changes for admins concerns user privileges, and a lot has changed here. The introduction of Automic SaaS was likely the reason for these changes, so let's take a quick look at them. First, admins can only assign privileges that they have. This does not depend on where and how you create or edit user accounts. In the AWI, via the Java API, the REST API, or via XML import, you can only assign privileges that you yourself have. There have also been some changes to the privileges themselves. The configuration of AWA logging was previously independent of any privileges. But starting from version 24.1, you will need the privilege create diagnostic information. This also applies to the two script functions, trace and trace dump. And finally, there are changes to two other privileges. Let's take a look at both of them. But first, let's see what it looked like before version 24.1. No separate privilege was required to start and stop the automation engine processes via the AWI or scripting. Access to the administration view was enough. In order to perform a zero downtime upgrade, you previously needed the execute system updates privilege, and the same privilege was also required to perform CAU upgrades on agents. So, what has changed? Starting from version 24.1, in order to start and stop server processes, you will need the privilege execute system updates, which has actually been renamed and is now called upgrade system start and stop processes. This applies not only to starting and stopping within the AWI, but also to shut down, terminate, and modify system script functions. Though you will still need the same privilege in order to carry out a zero downtime upgrade, a completely new privilege has been introduced for agent upgrades with CAU. It is called Upgrade Agents CAU. When upgrading to 24.1, all users who previously had the Execute System Updates privilege will automatically receive the CAU privilege. Finally, let's take a look at the latest news about Automic SaaS, Automic Kubernetes Edition, and various integrations. Some of the changes in version 24.1 are expectedly driven by Automic SaaS. In any case, Automic SaaS customers will particularly benefit from many of the new features in this release. Broadcom mentions one point specifically in the What's New document. Starting from version 24.1, SaaS customers no longer have to request new user accounts from Broadcom via a ticket, as they can create them themselves. For the Automic Automation Kubernetes Edition, there are 3 changes in total. First, the Automic Helm plugin is now optional and is no longer mandatory for installation or upgrade. Furthermore, an AAKE environment upgrade no longer needs to be paused until the database backup is completed. In the values.yaml configuration file, you can specify that you do not want to wait until the end of the backup before upgrading. And finally, as of V24.1, the AAKE containers will run in restricted mode. This gives you the ability of setting the pod security policies exactly as you see fit. Finally, we come to the integrations. This is what the RA successor is called. So, integrations can be viewed as RA 2.0. In the months leading up to the 24.1 release, Broadcom released several new integrations and extended the existing ones. The What's New documentation lists quite a few. Here I would like to emphasize one point in particular. The current FTP integration now supports HTTP proxy connections. And that concludes this overview of the V24.1 changes. Which new features do you find most interesting? Let us know in a comment. And thank you for watching.